This one for Lazard. Makes the play. Touchdown, Packers. Cousins throwing the fade for Thielen. It is caught for the touchdown.
Fields under some pressure. Throws on the run. Lost one of the end zone. It is caught. It's Mooney for the touchdown.
What a great play.
Pylon listeners, we are back. Recording right after the Bears game here. Oh, man. Just a rough Monday night one, but a rough weekend as a whole for the NFC North. We'll get into all that, but before we do, let's get to the Pylon crew. So I'm Big Z, representing the Detroit Lions. Then we got Kinger, representing the Packers.
Gentlemen, as always, great to be back with you. Let's talk some football.
Rebby, representing the Vikings.
Minnesota, it'll be okay.
And then last but not least, Barney, representing the Bears.
Boys, I feel like Herman Boone again. Let the boys play. Jada!
All right, and let's hop right into that one, Barney, because the Bears, they fight back, almost giving the Steelers their first loss after being up 14 points in the second half. But alas, they fall just short after trying to attempt a 65-yard field goal in Pittsburgh at the end of the game. Questionable decision, but I mean, you can get to the I guess the big point of the game was all the penalties going against the Bears in this one. I think that kind of sticks out. That and Justin Fields' performance.
Yeah, I'm glad you said Justin Fields' performance because, it took a while to get, really rolling on offense, but that was we scored 27 points, and the Bears do not score that many points ever. So it was a fun game to watch. First off, the officiating was grotesque. On a national scale, you got people in the media all over the place saying, how badly and one-sided the calls were. Now, I'm not referring to any of the neutral zone, of which there was 3 of them, 2 of them by Robert Quinn. We had a couple illegal formations. That's all hilarious. That's another indictment to Nagy. A first quarter, I think it was our first drive, we call timeout, and then right outside of the timeout on our first play, we have an illegal formation. It's just like, dude, get this stupid bald fuck off this goddamn team. But come on. Yeah, what did you guys think? Did you guys think that was as badly officiated as I did? Because I'm going to point out quite a few of these penalties that had no business being called. But
penalties that should have been called or penalties that should have been called as well. Like
both.
Rough. The NFL it seems like they have weird. It's very inconsistent. Like for instance, roughing the passer, like Justin Fields just getting lit up and hit in the head no less, and not called. But then it gets called the other way. But I've been in this seat a lot, so I understand the pain that you feel, Barney.
Yeah, you brought up that no call. I've never heard the commentators, Brian Greasy and Riddick. I've never heard commentators for an entire half just shit on the officiating and try to ease Bears fans over here with at least saying that's bullshit. On that hit that was not called in the red zone, which by the way was right after that terrible low blocking call, which was legal. But if he would have made contact with the guy, with TJ Watt, it would have been legal. But James Daniels missed the fucking block. He whiffed completely, and they still threw a flag. That's like face masking somebody who doesn't have a head and therefore doesn't have a helmet. It's like, well, if he would have made contact, that would have been face masking. But it was just like you're shaving points off with that touchdown, and then. The next 2 plays later or whatever, Fields gets lit up after 2 steps, and Greasy's over here saying, you just called that on Ben Roethlisberger. How are you not? I know this guy's a rookie, but how are you not calling that? There were a couple more. They shaved off that that touchdown throw. They had the defensive pass interference on Jalen Johnson, which was just outstanding coverage. And that was their second to last drive, which ended in a field goal because it was third down. And then they gave that a 30-yard pass to the Steelers. Bosworth hits the field goal to go up to, I don't know, 23 or something like that. And then the very next drive, Cassius Marsh has the coolest Sully after a sack or, a stop. I can't even remember it, with that like ninja kick. And then they call taunting on him. But the funny thing about that taunting call is Tony Correnti, the lead official, who clearly had money on the game, hip checks Cassius Marsh on his way back to the Bears dugout sideline, and then yeets the flag up in the air, holds that position for about 5 seconds like he's Kobe, taunting our own guy for taunting. I mean, that call led to the second bullshit field goal of the game. The Bears had no business winning this. It was grotesque. The referees should be indicted. And I think there's going to be a documentary in about 5 years saying that this game was one of them. But I mean, I do not want to talk about the officiating anymore, because Justin Fields really did have a fucking awesome game. He got past the 200-yard mark. Should have
awesome
been
second half. Let's say awesome second half, Barney.
I mean, I don't really think his first half was bad. A lot of his passes were on plays that, had been called back for offensive linemen downfield and shit like that. Like, he put the ball on the target for most part all game. And he got the game going with Kmet. And a lot of Bears fans, they're not, pleased with Kmet's performance so far, since we drafted him. And I'm just going to ease those guys because, dude, Justin Fields has made a living off his tight ends. He's never had great tight ends at Ohio State, yet he absolutely made them lethal. And I think that connection's only going to get better. But Kinger, to a point, you're right. He absolutely started shredding it in this second quarter or second half. Dude, the 25-yard dart over the middle on the left hash to Jimmy Graham was awesome. Allen Robinson ripping that fade from the slot on that last touchdown drive they had. The rollout to the left where he put that ball right on the money for Mooney in the end zone. I mean, that's the second time in 2 weeks now he's rolled out to the left, and he's just put in an absolutely perfect spot for our receivers to come down with the touchdown. Dude, this is a crazy little stat here, because it just seems like it shouldn't be a stat, but Justin Fields' 7 completions past 15 yards was the first time a Bears quarterback's done that in 15 years. Like, I don't think that's like such a hard feet to cross, but I don't know. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I think the kid had an outstanding game. 291 yards and a touchdown. Should have been over 300 and 2 touchdowns, but Tony Correnti and crew had money on the game, and that was just an impossible game for the Bears to win.
Yeah, but I mean, you gotta like the effort that they put at least in that game.
I do. It was awesome. I think the defense, I think they made the stops, and Roquan's out there saying he gave the game away and whatnot. Like, dude, those last 2 field goals, those were third down plays and those were punting plays. But they threw defensive pass interference on a bullshit fucking call, and then they threw taunting on that other call. Those are 2 field goals that should have never fucking happened. Those are 2 plays that are ending in punts. And if that happens, we're not talking about the Bears defense kind of giving it up. They made the stops they needed to, and then, that was terrible. That was fucking terrible.
It's funny you say that, because Ryan Clark was on ESPN afterwards, basically just ripping the discipline of the Bears and how after Justin Fields put him in that position, although the officiating was poor, I mean, they did kind of lay down and continue to make mistakes on that last drive. But I hear what you're saying, Barney, and I'm not really trying to criticize the Bears because that was probably the most complete Bears performance that we have seen in quite some time. It just is unfortunate there at the end that you guys continue to make mistakes. And I think that just all comes down to coaching. Although, I think from the McCaskey's perspective and ownership perspective, they probably thought Matt Nagy's turning this program around after a performance after like last night.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I thought, all right, if we lose this game, that just helps Nagy getting fired. So it was, it was a great game by Justin. So I kind of felt like everything was neutral for me. Mm-hmm. But I don't know how after, like, it was such bad officiating that I think like the McCaskies are like, well, you know what? I think Nagy did a bang up job and it wasn't that bad. The 12 fucking penalties is not his fault. He's getting another extension. So I'm kind of worried about that. And
I don't understand why they tried a 65-yard field goal at the end of the game. That didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Why attempt that?
They ruined Cairo's streak too.
Yeah,
they ruined Cairo's streak now.
I mean that's tough. I think that's gameplay right there. That's Matt Nagy making a terrible decision, one of a million. And I don't know. I mean, Cairo Santos was absolutely fucking phenomenal. Since we signed him, and probably leads our entire team in points since we signed him. And it's just like that we put the ball in his hands or in his feet. But it's like, it's 65 or it's 65 yards. It's cold as hell over there. The ball's not going to be traveling.
It's never traveled there. It's like
this isn't 68 yards in, the Detroit Dome. Like they had no business kicking that. They were like 5 to 10 yards short, and that was unfortunate. I thought it went off the crossbar, so it
did look like it from the back angle.
I was like, oh my God. But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not going to count not going for the Hail Mary as the reason we lost, because what's the percentage that you make a Hail Mary toss? And
well, right. I just thought it was a really bizarre decision. That's all.
I'm with you. Nagy, that's another fucking reason why Nagy's just does not need a headset on during the game.
For sure. All right, so the Bears move to, 3-6, Barney?
Yep.
3-5?
Four-game losing streak. But don't worry, guys, because Nagy said 2 years ago we went through a 4-game losing streak. Last year we went through a 6-game losing streak. He knows how to come out of these. So it might be 8 games this year, but we're going to come out of it for a nice, strong push at the end.
Well, you got to have a bye week, right, next week, right? And then you got the Ravens. So you got 2 weeks to prepare for them. A team that the Lions should have beat. So, but
a team that Minnesota should have beat.
Well, we'll get to that in a moment, Remy. But right now, let's move on to the Packers game where Jordan Love makes his debut, Kinger, and it was a little rough to watch offensively in this game.
Very rough to watch.
13-7 loss to the Chiefs. Holding the Chiefs at 13, that should get you a victory, especially on the road. At least from my perspective, I don't know about anybody else, but Jordan Love and the Packers offense didn't look like they had a game plan really for a while. But maybe that was my observation. What do you think, Kinger?
No, I agree with you. And LaFleur came out afterwards and said that the blame pretty much goes solely on him for how he didn't really set the team up for success. And, I agree with that because the Chiefs defense was pretty much set on a specific game plan. And that was, they were going to basically engage 8. They were going to rush 6, 7 all night long. Right. And so when you have that, you have a guy like Aaron Rodgers in the pocket who's going to just absolutely shred that if you get your one-on-ones on the outside, which they were leaving for a lot of the Packers wide receivers. Now, it's a little bit, I was a little bit disappointed that there weren't more beaters for that in place to try and beat the heavy blitz that they were bringing every time. And one thing that I want to note, that this is probably our offensive line's worst performance of the year. Royce Newman was just pretty much atrocious in there at guard. Elton Jenkins surprisingly didn't have a very good game as well. just across the board, they weren't pass blocking and they didn't have the communication up front that they have in previous weeks, right? That obviously being a strength of the Packers. So it was really a tough position for Love to come in, a pretty tough road environment for his first game. And, I will admit, I mean, Jordan Love did not look great, and there were some throws out there that, couple when they were released from his hand, you were like, whoa, I mean, that's an ugly ball, no spirals on it. But, I want to give him credit because he did have a handful of throws, I'd say 4 or 5 throws that, show that he does have some talent in there. But just overall, this first week performance was really not what you want to see from your future quarterback. But at this point, I said, I think the coaching staff could have done a lot better job scheming for him. It was pretty tough, but to highlight your point about the defensive side of the ball, anytime you hold the Kansas City Chiefs to 13 points and you're in a position where Patrick Mahomes and that offense had one of the worst statistical games of their tenure between Mahomes and Andy Reid, you got to try and find a way to win that football game. And, I think that just, again, speaks credit to what Joe Barry's doing with this defense, our acquisitions, our young players. We do have some studs. And it's just, that's the most exciting part for me to see is the fact that we were still in this ball game, even the position that we were on the offensive side, how poor everything but the Packers defense continues to deliver on a week-to-week basis. And, it sucks to take the L, but, it's one we can afford to lose, especially with the rest of the NFC already having a couple losses, the Rams getting spanked on Sunday Night Football. So, long-term, this is something that,
the Cardinals won with Colt McCoy, though.
They did, and the 49ers are pretty bad. That's what I think we're coming to realize with that. But
Kyle Shanahan, I know off topic, but Kyle Shanahan has the same record through however many games that he's coached as Chip Kelly.
Yeah, so. You take away 2019 and the Niners are bad. But like I said, it's one of those games where it's unfortunate. Everybody I think would have loved to see Rodgers and Mahomes. And I think the Packers do, win that game pretty easily with Aaron Rodgers behind center. But Aaron should hopefully be back Sunday versus Seattle next week. He's got that natural immunity now, so hopefully going forward we don't have any issues. But rough first game.
So yeah, that's a good question. Do you guys know if natural immunity is considered the vaccine now?
No, I don't think it is.
Oh yeah,
I heard
everybody's shitting on Rodgers here lately, Kinger, for lying and stuff.
Dude,
on all the pregame shows, even
you can't.
I heard he still might not be back.
He's going to be back, Remy. It's according to what everything I'm hearing. He's got no symptoms, so he'll be back.
Dude, there was a gentleman who literally killed a woman because of a reckless decision that he done over the same week as Aaron Rodgers just decided not to, obviously get the vaccine, and that was the big story, like all over the place. It's pathetic. Pathetic.
I don't even want to can't even get me going on this media here too, because they bring the drama to Green Bay. Like,
Remy, do your part.
This is like, it blows my mind.
I don't make the rules, but the rules in the media is if it bleeds, it leads. I'm sorry.
All of his teammates around here going, just mind your own business. Like, if you don't understand what's going on in the locker room, nobody on the team is upset with Aaron Rodgers, right? They're acting like it's some big rift. He betrayed the team. Everybody in the facility was well aware. So, that's just a different conversation. I don't want to get into it, but it's just very unfortunate that the media has dumped on him. And the media continues to fire this up in Green Bay.
I think it was kind of quieting down. Then he did the McAfee interview, and it just just started on fire. So
the MLK quote was fantastic.
That one's really good.
I'm a big fan of Aaron Rodgers. I'm not gonna lie, but so here's the thing, Kinger, and again, this is Jordan Love's first game. I totally respect you. I was chirping you all weekend just because the Bears weren't playing Sunday, and that was the game I really wanted to watch because I'm like, you know what? This guy's playing, and he has Matt LaFleur, who is one of the better offensive game callers. I think he is. He's got wide receivers. He's got weapons. He's got a pretty decent line, right? And he's going up against a fairly shitty Kansas City. So I was thinking, all right, let's see what a real coach dials up for his quarterback. Obviously, LaFleur says that it's, the game's on him, but I just want to ask you this. Dude, I think it's 7 games now that Aaron Rodgers has missed since like 2017 or like 2015, whatever it is. I think it's 17 because of that one injury that he had in 2018. But in those 7 games, the Packers averaged 13 points per game, which is 3 full points below the 0-16 Lions and like the whatever worst record that is, that's right next to the Lions. Are you worried that after Aaron Rodgers is gone, that not that the offense is going to be that bad, but it's just like you're not going to have a good offense anymore?
I mean, I can't say I'm worried, Barney, because it's like we gotta wait and see what happens with Jordan Love. We just gotta wait and see. And I keep saying that because you're right. The national media is ready to burn him at the stake. They want to trade him, do anything and everything you can to keep Aaron Rodgers. And I mean, I'm in the stance where I would like Aaron Rodgers to be here as long as possible. When you got a good thing going, you don't want it to end. But if you look back, and I was watching some of the Packers media, as ridiculous as most of these folks are, I've told you guys, I can't stand 90% of the Packers beat reporters media. I just can't. But they go back and you look at a couple of Aaron Rodgers games when Favre gets hurt back in 05, 06 before he became the full-time starter. And there were some horrendous numbers up there. I mean, they got blown out by New England 48-3. There was another game versus Baltimore that they got that was the Baltimore game that they got smoked by. There's another game versus New England where Rodgers was less than 50% completion percentage, a couple interceptions in the game, and just the numbers weren't there. And so it takes some time for a quarterback to be able to find that rhythm. Now, I'm not going to go out and sugarcoat it and be like, oh shit, yeah, I'm very comfortable. Jordan Love's got what it takes, right? Like nobody can look at that game, watch that game unobjectively and be like, all right, there's definitely, he's got a lot to improve on going forward. But it's like, we're the Green Bay Packers. We figure out a way to get things done. And, I agree. And I see what you're coming with. And I'm not going to deny that. It has been very poor and Rodgers hasn't played. But I'm not ready to just, go all out saying, oh, we're done once Rodgers is. It could be a few bad seasons. But I think just the overall culture and the way that we approach the draft and how we manage the roster, it's one of those things we'll figure out a way. But, we're just going to have to wait and see what happens going forward. That should hopefully be it for Love for the remainder of the year.
I just think that it's crazy because they felt in that wide receiver, that was probably the deepest wide receiver class, in a while. And they felt the need to draft his replacement and at least right now and everything leading up to this point on all reports, practices and whatnot, he does not look the part. And it's just like, how do you further this rift with Aaron Rodgers? And I hope Aaron Rodgers is not as spiteful as I think he is, because I think that game actually helped Aaron Rodgers, or at least the Packers brass be like, oh, okay, fuck, we need to just come to the table.
No
and
doubt,
make
Barney.
Sure.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So I'm kind of pissed about that Jordan Love did that fucking bad, because now I think Aaron Rodgers is definitely not fucking leaving.
You want to say that fucking bad. That quote, I agree he was bad, but I honestly think, with the exception of a couple throws, he outplayed Mahomes. I'm
a Bears fan.
Yeah,
right,
I know.
Right,
yeah. Okay,
yeah.
fair. All right, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw some Packers Twitters claiming that he did so bad that just proves that Rodgers is going to get an extension.
I mean, look, you're hoping we don't have to put Jordan Love into action the rest of the year, but if we're going to go off of that single performance, I think, already our front office is saying, okay, what can we do here to make sure that Aaron Rodgers is still our quarterback going forward? So, I'm not going to even get my hopes up on how far out, right? The Packers are still 7-2. We're still in a great position to have a good season here, make a run. So it is what it is. We just got to hope that, either Jordan Love starts making massive improvements in practice, which the likelihood obviously are very little, or Aaron Rodgers stays healthy and we get an Aaron Rodgers-led team for the rest of the year. But, it was a tough first game, but it's not an L that I take too much to heart here. It's going to happen. It's a tough road game, and, we're still in a fine position going forward.
Is a W, though, because they covered. So
they covered again.
Loss.
If you were betting the Packers this year, you'd be making a lot of money in the NFL. I don't know why none of us have hopped on the Packers weekly train, but they continue to cover. You're right.
I think now that Aaron Rodgers is doubling down and is public enemy number 1 in the view of the media. You know how like people get random drug tests all the fucking time? I'm pretty sure Aaron Rodgers is going to test positive at least one more time because they just want to make him the biggest enemy in the spotlight.
Oh yeah, dude. His opening press conference when he comes back is like, I don't even think they're going to even ask him any questions about the football game. They're just going to drill him about, his life decisions. And I hope he tells them all to pound sand. I really do.
Hey, at least Kirk Cousins came out and admittedly said that he is against the vaccine. Not against it, but that his medical records are private and pulled the whole plexiglass. He didn't have to lie about it.
He didn't lie.
He didn't lie. He sidestepped.
He sidestepped and manipulated.
He said he was immunized.
Yeah.
He didn't say anything specific.
Yep. But
all right. So and you get the Seahawks next week, Kinger, with Russell Wilson
come back. That's always a fun game. Yeah. Always fun games between those two teams.
Well, let's get to the last one of this past Sunday, and that, of course, is the Vikings blowing another late lead and a game. Remy, Kirk Cousins, another last-minute drive to tie the game. He's actually been clutch in a lot of these late game situations, but then they just don't pull out the victory. It's got to be tough for you.
Big Z, I'm going to start off by saying this is fucking bullshit, dude. This 5 losses is a combined of 18 points. You don't understand. This is like the best, worst Vikings team I have ever seen in my entire life. Nobody has ever even considered Minnesota to even come close to beating the Ravens, as I recall last podcast. Yet here we are opening the second half, and it's Kene Ngagu, I butchered that last name, just houses a 97-yard, 95-yard kick to the house. We're up 24-10 on them. I'm starting to wake up from my nap a little bit. It's feeling great. And we start to figure out that Lamar Jackson can't just run the QB draw. Now, he got a lot of yards doing it, but now we start, Kenny Willekes and guys start stepping in without Danielle Hunter, really started figuring Lamar out. But then in the second half, you start to see Hollywood Brown just cooking on all receivers. I can't, this is like the best / worst season because every loss seems like a moral victory, but we're still sitting at 3-5 with every week seems to be a better chance at a draft pick. Not that I'm going down that road yet. We still got the Chargers and Green Bay coming up, I believe. So, it's frustrating. And, Dalvin Cook over 100 yards on the ground. It's no touchdowns. Justin Jefferson only got 5 receptions. Maybe Stephon Diggs was right when he said this was just a run-heavy offense and that he didn't want to be no part about it, because if we're only giving 5 looks to Justin Jefferson a game, he's not going to want to re-sign here in a couple of years. But you're right. Minnesota pisses away a victory. It goes to overtime. And not only that, but my boy Anthony Barr intercepts Lamar Jackson in overtime. And all we have to do is just go make a fucking field goal. And Kurt can't even push the ball because, again, the Engage 8 just got to him. And I couldn't believe how close of a game it was. I couldn't believe that we were close to beating one of the top teams in the AFC. It's so frustrating to watch this team, and I sound like a broken record week in and week out, be so good, but yet just be so fucking bad. We play these good teams on the road almost perfect, but it's so hard to win football games apparently in the NFL.
So is it more on the Vikings personnel? Is it on the coaching? This is
100% on the coaching and offensive coordinator. I don't think we make any firings, and you wouldn't catch me dead saying this in the beginning of the season or probably in the remainder of time before this, but it's starting to look like the writing is on the wall for Zimmer and Clint Kubiak to get out of there.
There's still 9 games left, Remy. They're only one game out of the playoffs.
Yeah, and you're only 18 points away from.
Do you know how much I'd kill for that right now? Do you know how much I'd kill for that?
18, that's the magic number. No, but I mean, as there's a standard. There's a standard here in Minnesota. I mean, you have some of the best offensive weapons in the game, and you can't fucking do anything. Kirk Cousins has been in the system for 3 to 4 years, and you can't do anything. Mike Zimmer has coached this defense from worst to best, and you can't do anything. So I'm starting to think it's not the players, because certainly Justin Jefferson can play, Adam Thielen can play, Dalvin Cook can play. We got an offensive line to keep Kirk clean. Say that 5 times. And you can't fucking do anything. We need a young guy who can go in there and fucking throw the ball down the field and not this bullshit dump, dive, dip, dodge, and duck. I'm so sick of it. There needs to be a change in Minnesota, and I think it will come at the end of the year. You are right. We are very close to having that playoff spot, which would be awesome because with the way, I mean, the Rams look good. Everyone's going to lose once in a while, but Packers only need a few more losses, and we can just line up with them in the playoffs, and I will be glad for that to happen.
Remy is keeping that pipe dream alive. Keeping that pipe dream alive.
I'm speaking it into existence, baby. Especially if Rodgers tests positive again, and we have to play Jordan
I can
Love.
see
Anyway,
Dalvin running right now.
Yeah. Anyway, right before games start, Harrison Smith tested positive for COVID. He again is unvaccinated, and he will be out. He was out that game and will be out again next Sunday against the Chargers. So that's another big blow to the secondary. It's just rough, man. It's rough being a Viking fan, and I don't know how else to put it. 18 fucking points. 18.
Remy, so on the record, regarding Kirk, do you in fact not like that?
No, I do like that. Look at his stats. I think he's got 14 or 15 touchdowns to 2 or 3 picks. He's played good. He just hasn't. I don't know. When I think he needs to step up. No pun intended. He needs to step up when the ball's in his hands in those late. If he's a veteran and he knows what he has to do on second, on third down, in overtime, you just need a fucking score. You just need a fucking score. Go down in field goal territory and give it to Greg the Leg. Yes, I'm talking about Greg Joseph. But if he can't make those decisions like that and is just going to take a sack on third down, like, god damn. So I don't know. I mean, Kirk's playing well, but we're losing games. The Vikings are playing well, but we're losing games. I think we need a more offensive guy, offensive-minded, coaching to develop quarterbacks. And I don't think it happens under Zimmer. As much as I like and respect Zimmer, how much has he done to clean up the culture of this organization and take our defense from a no identity to an identity? And it's the writing is close to being on the wall for him to maybe make an exit.
Well, I guess time will tell, Remy. It's still a long season here, especially with the extra game. So, but there does seem to be a lot of consistent results for you, unfortunately, on the losing side of things.
But we covered. So,
Remy, I think you guys make the playoffs. I'm just saying, I think that 7th spot is yours, and I would hate to be that team. What is it? Second place that has to face because the first place team gets the bye. Second place team has
Green Bay.
I would hate to be that second ranked team because that is a dangerous team. That is a dangerous Vikings team right there.
I mean, here's
it's either going to be Green Bay or the Rams. I feel like
right now the 7th seeds, the Falcons at 4-4. Then you got the Panthers 4-5, Vikings, Seahawks, 49ers at 3-5. Then the Eagles, Giants, Bears at 3-6. So
I think the Vikings are the best team out of all those.
I would say. I mean, Seahawks are getting Russell.
Seattle's probably their biggest.
They're getting Russell Wilson.
All right, I'm good with that too.
Yeah,
and the Falcons are kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde team. They play really good and then really bad.
I'm pretty sure they still have to play Tampa twice, though. I'm pretty sure.
No, they played them once already.
They already did play them once?
Mm-hmm.
You got to play the Tampa 2, huh?
Tampa 2.
Yeah. So it's interesting. It'll definitely come down to tiebreakers, it seems, whoever's going to get that 7th spot. There's going to be a lot of weird tiebreakers going on. All these records are really close to each other except for the Lions. The Lions did get some help with the Jaguars winning this week in terms of draft position. So
how incredible was that?
Unbelievable how how did the Bills score 6 points against the Jaguars? Unbelievable.
I
And
don't
her Josh
understand
Allen's MVP odds too. I think Tom Brady moved to the top spot now.
Any given Sunday, man.
Tom Brady's like plus 350 now, I just read.
It doesn't help that the Cardinals whooped on the 49ers without Murray for his MVP odds. Just a little bit. Not totally, but just a little bit.
I as somebody who took the Cardinals minus 2.5 for that best bet, I thought Kyler was going to be playing the entire week, and I was buying that dip. And then when he was out, it was like Cardinals plus 5.5. I'm like, oh boy, this might be an 0-for-3 week for me. And then Colt McCoy just went out there and dealt it.
Well, James Conner, really. I mean, he absolutely dominated that game. That 49ers team looks not good. Not
Suspect.
Good. Yeah. So, all right. I think that's going to wrap it up here. Discussing this week. We have a lot of – who do the Vikings have next week? I didn't look at that.
Chargers.
Oh man, who's gonna mess up that game in the last 2 minutes? That'll be fascinating. Those are two teams that have a long history of messing up in the last 2 minutes. So,
this is the revenge game for Justin Jefferson for crowning Justin Herbert Rookie of the Year. So expect 100 and expect 180 yards from Justin Jefferson.
Huh? I didn't. I think you're the only one that thinks it might be a revenge game, Remy. But whatever gets you fired up. Whatever gets you fired up for Sunday.
Me and all of Vikings Twitter, yes. 18 motherfucking points!
Boys.
Damn it!
I just want to say, it took 9 weeks, but the Bears threw for more than 200 yards. All right? We got the monkey off our back.
Sky's the limit now for the Bears.
The sky is the limit, dude.
Shout out Kid J for having me hop on the Justin Fields over, because that hit in yards.
Yes, sir.
A blind squirrel finds a nut, right? That's what they say.
I have a feeling that was a very, very dangerous game for the rest of Chicago Bears opponents from years on. This was the one small step for man, one giant leap for Justin Fields that he needed. And you guys be shaking in your boots.
He looks
whatever
smooth.
helps you sleep this week.
He looks
Barney.
smooth. He does look smooth.
I agree, though. He's definitely the last 2 weeks definitely shown a lot of improvement, for sure. So, all right, I think that's going to wrap it up. Twitter at the Pylon Pod, Instagram at the Pylon. Please follow us on there. Message us with your thoughts about this week's games or next week's upcoming games. And then Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Please download, please subscribe, please leave a review. We'll be back later this week previewing what week is it now? Week 10 of the NFL season. We're already in the double digits now. Oh, man. And they turn back the clocks an hour. The sun's down at 4:30. So we're really getting into the colder months here. And football really ramping up. All right, gentlemen. Our producer, Kid J, thank you. Everybody have a great start to your week. And we'll be back later.
Tony Currenti can eat a dick.